I cannot believe that we're in the last mile of 2024. Just like that. 2024 gone, done, about to be dusted. Every time around this year, I used to beat up myself so bad that I would be almost looking into what have I achieved in the year and what have I not. And I can gladly say that I'm no longer really into that. I always now look up to what more can one do, especially looking at the things that I couldn't achieve or the failures. And I look up to now saying, what can I do better? Or what went wrong, what went hayway that made me not to achieve the things that I would have planned to do in the year. So the optimistic me, the little optimistic me says, if you feel somehow that you haven't done the things you wanted to do, trust me, there's always time for you to have a second chance, if so to speak, to have another attempt of doing better, particularly on the key things that either be it your career, business, family, even your studies. So look into this as a way of saying, I'll do better in 2025. I go by the name of Katlego, and welcome to the Balcony Dialogues. In this edition, we are going to be talking about, of recent, I was just in Cape Town and was there for a week. It was my birthday, so we took a short left. And when I was there, I started to think about how diverse South African cities are, especially the main cities. So you know how people always say we are a rainbow nation. You can see that even traveling from one place to the other, that some places are hot, some places are cold, some places are mild. It's just a melting pot of different things happening in South Africa at the same time. So I just want to touch on the fact that I used to, before 2019, I was working for this multinational company, right? And I was doing a lot of traveling. So I would travel locally, I would travel abroad. And traveling locally, because South Africa is so beautiful, I actually started liking the idea of working either in Cape Town, being based there basically, or Durban. Then I started looking. I was like, okay, I don't think it's a bad idea. KZN is very nice, beautiful. They've got the best hub for import, export, best manufacturing sector. Tourism is also like flourishing there. I would say Cape Town, tourism is like top notch. I think it's the municipality there also, they're making it very intentional that they make it the ultimate international or even intercontinental destination hub in Africa. So the places that they know that are tourist attractions, they make sure that there's roads are highly maintained, they're very clean. I think even safety because everywhere you go, there's presence of cops, metro cops, SAPs, and even like the security guards. So that makes it very, very like interesting. So my first in KZN, I spend it on the road most of the time, like weekends, long weekends. I would make sure that. So I was living in an area called Kloof. I would travel as far as from Durban to Richards Bay and back. I've done the Midlands. I've done all these nice gems in KZN because I think that was part of me moving there. And as soon as I had exhausted most of that, I really started to get bored because I was starting to see now that actually KZN, as much as it has the best hubs for imports and exports, in fact, it's the biggest hub for imports and exports in South Africa. They've got the best manufacturing sectors that side. And as I alluded to, like tourism is also amazing. I somehow started to realize that, but it looks like opportunities in terms of work and that much, there isn't a lot compared to what I would have been exposed to in Joburg, for example. And I just started to think maybe it's now time for me to head back. And before even that thought came, I think it was just after the riots and the looting, the flooding, and also COVID did a bit of it. I just started to think that I'm so far from home, which is in Northwest, and I don't think it's my place either. I've exhausted the things I wanted to see, or things that I've always admired about KZN, and it's shy. I have to pack and go back. And I also started to see that there was a wave of people, even in the same company that I worked for, who were actually like looking for opportunities in Joburg. So that's why some people also were very surprised that I was moving from Joburg to that side. Because I think for them it was just a thing of, why would you come this side when people are actually moving to Gauteng for better opportunities? So, but in terms of the people in KZN, I think I had a good time. Apart from the fact that opportunities are limited, and just the unstable nature, unstable environment of looting, the floods. I've had a fair share of a good time that side. For this edition of the podcast, I wanted us to look at the insides of the work life, or just life in general, in any of these main cities in South Africa. Moving away from Joburg, going to Durban and Cape Town, for example. How does living there look like? I'm saying this because South Africa is this melting pot of diverse cultures. People are different, multi-languages. And then, for example, in Cape Town, there's this dynamic and a blend of tourists who either come outside South Africa, either from the continent or even abroad mostly. And all these influences, they make living any of these cities so different, in the sense that if you were going to have to fly to KZN from Joburg and to Durban, you're going to experience a totally different kind of lifestyle, different kind of feel, different kind of weather, and even in terms of how people, or how you relate to people, the friendliness of people, it's so different. So for this episode, I want us to really dive into that and look into what could really be making this to be exactly the way we see it. So for the fact that I've had a career stint, or I've lived in KZN, I don't think that really I would like the idea now today of saying I'm packing my bags and I'm going to try a career in Cape Town. And my reasons are really the fact that by the time I was in KZN, I found it very cumbersome for me to just travel from KZN to Northwest, for example. It would take me so much logistics for me to find myself home, like in the farms or in the villages. So I can't imagine how that would look like for someone who's so keen on moving around and being able to go home, whether for a funeral or someone's wedding, or just going to see them. Cape Town would make it very difficult, or rather not so easy. It's very remote personally for me. So with KZN, I found myself also like always rushing through to airports, hiring cars, or even have to drive from KZN to Joburg and to Morocco. It just became like too much. So based on one of those reasons, I don't see Cape Town as that ideal for me. I guess it's because of the things that I know now of being in a different city compared to Joburg. I have managed to also secure a clip from a classmate of mine. We met through SEMA Studies. She's from Maftown. She did an audio clip of, very interesting actually, of what working in Cape Town for her then and now looks like. So just take a short, if you guys can just take a short listen and hear what she has to say about how working in Cape Town looks like.
Good morning. Hope you're well. I'm sorry for coming back to you so late, but I hope I'm not late for your thingy. Actually, it's because probably you asked me something that I've never really thought of, because honestly nothing was planned. I'm just flowing. But when I came to Cape Town, it wasn't saying I want to go to Cape Town. I just saw an opportunity. I applied for a couple of posts that had Mafeking option, Johannesburg, Free State, and Cape Town. I was willing to go anywhere. The Cape Town one, I didn't even believe that I would get it. So I went for all interviews. I got shortlisted for all applications I did in different provinces. And then I got the one in Cape Town. And first of all, the saddest thing about that is the money is the same, even if, how do I say this? The most annoying part is with the package I was getting, I can live with it Mafikeng, but you can't live with it in Cape Town. So my thoughts has always been like Cape Town Post should have a certain salary bracket, not like the rest of the country, because I mean, staying here is honestly very expensive. Accommodation is expensive. Shopping around, it is also expensive. Even on street vendors, it is quite expensive because most prices are just targeting tourists. And I don't know if they forget how we stay here. And I mean, we earn the same currency. So my story is quite different. It is honestly has nothing to do with the working environment. And when I came, I felt it was an escape for me to come into a new city and stay here. And it was peaceful for me. And even when I moved where I was working at first and got a full-time work from home post, I had a choice to go back, and I was ready to relocate back to Johannesburg. And then I was told no need because it's 100% remote. And I chose to stay in Cape Town because by the time I got it, I had already applied for an apartment to buy. And I was like, oh, great. If it means I can stay here, then I can proceed with my application, and finally moved into my place. So, and then I stayed, and still then I had no thoughts of leaving Cape Town with the financial constraints it comes with. Because the town itself, it gets really lonely because the people are not really that welcoming. So, and then now I got another job where now I'm based in the office, and I guess the beauty of being in Cape Town is maybe I can't even say exposure related, you know what I mean? And right now I'm getting to a space where now I feel how lonely the place can really be, because I was okay with being by myself and having that escape and enjoying my peace and whatever. But generally you can do life alone. So I can't really say much, but maybe work environment, because now I'm exposed to a fully Afrikaans space where people speak Afrikaans the whole day. And when you ask questions now, they need to adjust back to English. But yet again, they're the very same people, because I'm working for a company now that's based in Cape Town. I think it's like they call them an investment company, but they invest in all manufacturing companies. So we have a number of manufacturing businesses in the group, which I manage. So I honestly don't know. I wish we were conversating about it so you can ask me direct questions. But for me right now, what I can say is I don't want to lie to you. I've literally just been flowing wherever the wind takes me. I was going. Because a year back, I used to confidently say, I'm definitely not going back anywhere. I'm staying in Cape Town. But the decision today is, you know what, whatever comes, I will go, because the place really, really does get really lonely. But I'm in a lot of social clubs now. So I have a club where when I want to go hiking, want to go whatever. So, but I enjoy staying here because it comes, I guess, with the perks of a beautiful place. There's a lot of tourist attractions. There's a lot to do, but the lot to do comes with money. And what must happen when majority of your money goes to your accommodation? You know what I mean? So, but the beauty of it for me is I work again closer to work. I'm like 12 minutes away to the office. And yeah, I don't know. You'll ask me questions, you have follow-up questions, and then I can respond to them.
Sure. It's so interesting to some of the things that she's alluding to. We spoke about how Cape Town is more of a tourist area compared to, it's more of a tourist destination, but things are just so expensive. I can imagine what accommodation there looks like, because just booking a place for a holiday for a week, you're not looking anything less than, if you're looking like for a good place, you're not going to pay anything less than 10K. You won't stay there for a week. If you're looking for now like just a place for you to stay, then I guess you can, but it's not like here in Joburg or in KZN, Durban, where you can get a very decent place and safe, looking good, and still pay not so much as what you'd pay in Cape Town. She's also saying something interesting about the language. I didn't think that Afrikaans is that dominant in Cape Town. I never seen it like that. I always thought maybe Pretoria is like the hub of Afrikaans as a language, but it's interesting that that's coming up in her audio. She's talking about how excited she was when she was there, when she was studying. And now she's like, it's totally different. She's seeing it different as to how she used to enjoy it in the past. She's talking about how complex it is. Remember, I spoke about how easy it is for you to get around in Joburg. There's only someone that you know here. There's only someone that you can reach out to, even if you're not going through stuff. You just want to hit up a person and have a conversation. It's so easy here, but the complexity in Cape Town, she has to be in social clubs. She has to go to gyms. She has to join these communities so that she can get to network and enjoy the place more, which is totally different to Joburg, for example. And the standard of living in Cape Town is very, very, very high. I can't even imagine what it looks like for someone who's not even what they call middle class, for them to really be there and get to explore the beauty of Cape Town, get to tour the place without them having to dip deeper into their pockets. So it goes back to the point that it's priced for tourists. It's priced for somebody who's used to pay in US dollars or in euros, where when you come to Cape Town, spending here looks much cheaper. And it's just so, I think it's a bit of a sad thing, because also if you consider, for example, somebody that lives in Camps Bay, your Stellenbosch, all these posh places, and you then look at how somebody lives in Langa, Khayelitsha, totally complete two different worlds. If you had to compare someone that lives in Langa, Khayelitsha, it's totally two different worlds. And I think that's one of the things that you'd love to hate, or you'd hate about Cape Town, is the fact that there's too much gap between the haves and the have-nots. These nice places that I'm talking about in Cape Town, they're very buzzing at night. They're very safe. There's less crime happening. I mean, everywhere you go, there's cops. There's metro cops on the roads. There's security guards everywhere. The roads are well maintained. Um, the places looks nice and clean, but it's because they made to look like that intentionally by the local municipality to make sure that these areas look good for tourists. But think of it, of someone who's not a tourist that lives in a poor area. It's said that they can't live the kind of life that they would wish to live, because then there's a barrier of the fact that they don't have the money for them to get around. So yeah, I think that's the interesting thing about living in Cape Town. And I keep saying, I don't think, even for retirement, I would have to be like, you would have to be super rich for you to really live comfortably in Cape Town. I don't even want to lie. Otherwise, you're not gonna live the life you really want to live comfortably, afford the life, and getting around. So those are some of the icks that I don't like about Cape Town. It's good for you coming, you've saved money, and you touring there and going back to your cocoon. But if you have the means, you can, I guess. If you can afford the life there, I can imagine how that looks like, because the place is beautiful. And the good thing also about Cape Town compared to Joburg, it's definitely the fact that there's so much to do. There's so much to do. There's limited things you can do in KZN. You do them and then done them. Joburg is even worse because it isn't much of a tourist area, but much of a economic hub. But Cape Town, there's just a plethora of things you can do. In fact, most people go there and haven't really done much. You still go back, and for the time you come back again, you obviously want to try new things. So it really gives like a plethora of a lot of tourist activities. But as we do say, you gotta have them ching. Otherwise, then you won't really get to mix it. Yeah, so I think that's the interesting thing about living in the three cities. Overall, I find the standard of living in Joburg very accommodating. But it's also not as low as the standard of living in KZN. There's a lot of opportunities in Joburg, I think personally, compared to any of these two. So yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to explore or touch based on my experiences in either Durban, Joburg, or Cape Town. So yeah, thank you so much for your time, guys. Like, we only started this podcast the end of November 2024, and I've been so excited to see how the podcast is growing in terms of membership, or rather subscriptions. I just want to ask that we keep engaging. I can only do as much as the response I get from you guys. So if you like the content, you want to subscribe, you want to share, by all means feel free. Because at the end of the day, I also need a bit of motivation so that I can keep bringing in the content. You know, as I always like saying, I want this platform to be the one where we learn new things and unlearn. And I think we can do exactly that if we support one another. Sharp, sharp. Thank you so much. Bye.